Hi, this is George Alger with another segment of Our Ventura TV. And today I'm very pleased to be speaking with Rachel Shur, who is a cancer survivor extraordinaire, and she's the executive director of UCAN, which stands for the United Cancer Advocacy Action Network. Welcome, Rachel.
Thanks, George. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, cool. So we're talking about, a relatively serious subject, but I like that you keep it, you keep it in the spirit of positiveness. Yes, but let's get right into some basic statistics that were quite surprising to me about how many people actually contract some form of cancer.
It's actually pretty crazy. Every 23 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer, and every 60 seconds, someone dies of cancer.
Wow. Wow. So do you happen to know if the rate of cancer is increasing?
I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to tell because every time I go to the City of Hope for like my checkups, I'm constantly seeing more and more people there, and they constantly have more people that are getting treated, but I don't really know. Statistically, like if there's more people that are being diagnosed or what, or if there are just more people that are surviving after cancer.
Oh, good point, good point. All right, well, let's speak about UCAN. What is it? What does it do? What's its purpose?
I actually started UCAN after I had cancer twice, and I started it as like a resource, just a resource organization. But the more involved I got with these patients that I was meeting, I saw more of a need for something bigger than just a resource organization. So we actually just got an office last October, and in that office we have like one-on-one counseling that's free for patients and their family members, and we have one-on-one peer counseling. We have like a young adult cancer survivor support group. We have an extensive video resource library. So it's very like homey and comforting for patients to like come in and just hang out. And I don't want them to feel like they have to come there and talk about cancer. Like if they just want to come in there and just hang out with their family and play a board game or play a video game or watch a movie and not think about cancer for like an hour and a half, I want them to feel comfortable enough to come in and do that.
Nice.
So,
in fact, that whole philosophy is something I wanted to touch on because it is quite admirable that you are taking this serious issue and you're trying to integrate a positive aspect to it. Speak to the basics of that.
I think it goes down to like what I experienced. With my initial cancer diagnosis, I was diagnosed terminal, and I was given a 10% chance of survival. And the reality was I didn't know that. I had no idea that I had such a slim chance of surviving that cancer. But I embraced that disease, and I laughed, and I, watched movies, and every time nurses came in, I was just like hysterical and always trying to find a positive aspect to, that disease that I was going through. And I really think attitude is everything, in any cancer diagnosis, no matter what a doctor says. Even if a doctor says, hey, you're terminal, it's not the doctor's decision when that person's going to go. It's up to God, or whatever your higher power is. And I think people really need to realize, you have to find a different way to face that disease. Whether it be you telling yourself that every time you get the chemo, it's little Buddhas coming into your body to destroy that cancer, or whatever, little soldiers like Marie Curie, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You have to find some way to battle that disease head on. Laugh about it. Find some way to laugh. I know that sounds really weird, but like for me, that was my saving grace, was being able to say, okay, I have cancer. What am I gonna do now? Oh no, my hair's falling out. Oh, look, I have gray hair, I'm 32, And just trying to find some way to find some humor in that. And everybody's gonna deal with it differently. Not everybody's gonna be able to find the humor in that kind of stuff, but they have to find a way to have a positive outlook on their life. I mean, why did I get this cancer? Maybe there's something I need to change in my life. Maybe the job I have is too stressful and I need to do something that I love. Maybe it's like a wake-up call.
Good point.
So.
Good. So then what types of What types of people are benefiting from UCAN?
We have all different kinds of patients that come see us. Because our office is still kind of new, we get a lot more phone calls than we do patients coming in and visiting us. But sometimes when we do get patients visiting us, I mean, it can be anybody from like a young child to a senior to a college student. We don't really base it on, you know, like what type of cancer they have. We'll help them. How old they are, what ethnicity or anything. It's just whoever comes in who wants help or resources or comfort or just wants to hang out and do something fun. And you know, another thing is like our office, we're really kid friendly. So we invite parents that want to talk about like their cancer, their family member's cancer, to come in and bring their kids. And then we can stick the kids in like the resource room or the, it's like a counseling office, but we have like stuffed animals, and then we have board games, and we have video games, and we have movies and crafts and stuff, so we can keep the kids busy while we're talking serious with the parents. And so we have all kinds of people, families and everybody.
Nice.
It's
now,
good.
Does UCAN also address the different modes of handling or curing cancer or making it less, whatever the right terminology is? I guess even more specifically, there is the medicinal route,
right.
There's the natural route, there's controversies over that, but
right.
do you enter into that?
Because I'm not a doctor, I can't really give like advice, but I can give suggestions. So, you know, when patients contact us and they say like, oh, I have a terminal form of cancer and they're stopping my chemotherapy treatments, but I want to know if there's any alternative stuff. I will provide them the information about the alternative options that they have, and whether they decide to take that or not is up to them. It's not up to me. But at least we can arm them with some kind of like option, because the last thing you want to do is give a patient a wall and be like, okay, well, we did everything we can't help you anymore. Because the minute you tell somebody that they're terminal and they're not going to make it, most people just shut off. Most people don't want to fight anymore. And you know, doctors, they have to do that. They have to tell people that they're terminal because of like liability stuff. But they should still give them some glimmer of hope that like, hey, there might be another alternative option. Maybe you should go see a different doctor. Maybe you should get a second opinion. There should still be that hope that they should be giving those people. And that's where we come in. It's like, if you call me and you say, this is what's going on, I want to be able to say, okay, well, here's a couple options I know about. I'm not a doctor, so it's really up to you if you want to do it or not, and that's what we do. It's about giving people hope. You know, I should tell you this story. I had, we have this event every single year. It's a date auction. We auction off singles. And this one guy was requested by a friend of ours. She wanted him to be in the date auction. She said, you're totally handsome, really great. We want you to do this date auction. He goes, I don't know if I want to do it. So he calls me the other day and he says, okay, I decided I'm going to do this event. He goes, and this is why I'm going to do this event. He's like, because I met this guy who lives on my block, who's lived on my block for like 8 years. I've never met him before. And I finally met him, and he told me he has like stage 4 lung cancer or something. And he's been paying for these treatments out of his pocket, $10,000 a month. His copay's like $1,500. And he's gotten to the point where he doesn't want to keep taking money out of his savings away from his family in the case that he dies, and then they're left with nothing. And so he's telling me this story, and he's like, you know, I heard what this guy was saying, and he said, it was so horrible to hear this guy just like give up because he didn't want all of his money to be going away to this treatment that might never cure him. And he thought, I want to help this organization that's really trying to like get out there and help these patients with like financial needs. And so he told me the guy's story, and I sent him a whole bunch of information about alternative options and copay options and all kinds of different stuff that this guy can apply for to try to get the assistance that he needs so he can continue treatment or some form of treatment to try to get better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about your positive attitude.
Okay.
So it makes sense to me that it helped you,
yeah.
and that it helped anyone who can conjure up that attitude.
Right.
But it's a lot to ask for someone who has a serious disease. What would be your tip or advice to someone in a similar situation who just doesn't innately have a positive attitude? How could you suggest to them or advise them on trying to cultivate it?
It depends on the person, but you can figure out something that you really love to do and spend a lot of time working on that thing that really makes you happy, because that'll cause endorphins. Or you can, another suggestion I give people is like, have your family put together a collage of like favorite memories and sayings and put it on a big poster board and stick it up in your room and look at it and enjoy that. Enjoy those memories and laugh about that stuff with your family members. Like, remember that thing you did, or remember that story or that thing that happened. You know, you want to like really get somebody to start laughing, or even watching funny movies. Like when I was in the hospital, I watched funny movies all the time. And I'm sure it takes a long time for some people to get that positive attitude, but they kind of have to look at it from like the bigger picture. What's the bigger picture of this disease? Why was I diagnosed with this cancer? Maybe there's a bigger purpose in my life. Maybe I need to find a new way to look at things. And so it's all about like finding the things that you love and finding the things you're passionate about and just doing that stuff to make you happy until you get to that point where you're able to like look at your cancer in a different way.
Well said.
Thanks.
All right. So we're kind of winding down here.
Okay.
I'd like to certainly get your website, but I'd also like to ask if you have, I don't know, some kind of summating message that you could convey to people about cancer, or whether they have it or whether they know of someone who has it, just some kind of message that could inspire people to confront this disease even more effectively. Okay, so the best message I can give you is cancer doesn't discriminate, neither should we. And you know, most people when they see a kid with cancer, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to help that child. But when they see an adult with cancer, they say, oh, that person's old enough to take care of themselves. And the reality is, and the thing that I realized from this cancer experience is, even though I'm cancer-free, it doesn't mean I don't have problems. And there are so many more problems that patients have as a result of these treatments where there's no financial help for those patients. And so we want people to know, you know, UCAN is about helping patients. Anybody with cancer, anybody with cancer, any type of cancer, any age. I don't discriminate on your age or anything. And we want to be able to provide financial assistance. I mean, like, that's the long-term goal of UCAN, is providing that financial assistance, because that need is out there and there's so many patients that need help that don't have any options. And it shouldn't be that way with all the money that's going into cancer. There should be some option for them. And UCAN is it. So, good summation. Good, and what's the website address? It's www.ucaan.org. Great. Thanks. Well, Rachel, thank you very much for coming by. Thanks, George. This is a very important message to get out. Thank you. All right. So this is George Alger signing off for another segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we see you again.